Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone. It is another opportunity today that we should continue sharing our lesson, our online training. I always emphasize that you should also like the video and share the video, subscribe to this YouTube video so that you benefit more. Okay, last time my lesson was on pipe fittings, where I talked about a lot of fittings and also the use of these particular fittings and where to use them. So without wasting much of your time, I think today my main business is to look at to continue where we ended and also see how we can actually repair and also check on how to use these particular fittings. Last time I talked about fittings like elbows, talked about unions, talked about valves, but today I will little bit show you on how to repair or maybe how to replace some valves. And after we'll continue talking about mixer tabs. Okay, we'll continue talking about mixer tabs. I think you are following me, and let me continue talking about these valves. Okay, so if you're following me, just subscribe or like it or share, comment on my video YouTube. Okay, there's one part which I wanted to share with you, and this is very, very important. It is about how to repair a tap or maybe a valve. Okay, before we go to the mixer tap, I'll first share with you on how to repair a valve or a tap. Okay, last time we talked about types of valves like gate valves, talked about stopcock valve, talked about non-return valves, also talked about foot valves. Okay, now there's something that I want you to see or maybe to know or to understand, and this thing is to know on how to repair this type of a tap, whether it is a pillar tap or maybe it's a BB tap like this one. So this one is called a BB tap. Okay, this tap is called a BB tap. Some taps, if you double check, you find that they have got some indicators here. So the indicator might be red in color or maybe blue in color. So the meaning of those colors is like number one, we talk about the red indicator on top of this capstan. If it is in red color, that red means what? Red means hot water. It's actually sure that it is for hot water. Okay, then sometimes you find there is a blue indicator, which is also cold water. But I'm not saying that if you find a red indicator, it means that this tap is specifically for hot water. No, this tap can be also used for cold water and also hot water. So it means that the red and the blue colors are just to show you on how to see on or maybe how to identify the sides where hot water is and where cold water is. Many of the time you see cold water is mainly found to your right hand side, so that you'll be able to open first the cold water before you even open the hot water, meaning that our left hand side is a bit slow in doing some works, and when you look at the right hand side is very quick to act. So that's the reason why if the hot water is this side to your left to your right hand side is very disastrous. So sometimes there's so many accidents. Okay, that's why a qualified plumber, when fixing these or maybe when laying pipes, a plumber should know where the cold water must be normally hot water is right, left, and cold water is right, so that you don't make that mistakes. Okay, dear viewers, I think you still follow me. Now, there's some situation where you find that the water, it is continue flowing or dropping some drops here, even if this tap is closed. This tap is closed. Remember, I'm talking about the faults and remedies. Faults and remedies on how to repair this tap. Okay, if you find that the water is dropping this side and it's closed, it means that there's a problem which we are going to identify. Okay, and sometimes you find that it is closed and still the water is dropping from this point, or maybe dropping from this point. Okay, it means that also there is a problem somewhere there. Now, this problem is going to be identified. Okay, so we are going to identify these kind of problems. Now, how do you dismantle this? How do you separate all these components or accessories of this BB tap? Okay, first of all, you have to check to use this, what we call a screwdriver. Now, this screwdriver is a combination, it's a combo, meaning that it's 2 in 1. So it has got a flat and also a star. Okay, now since we have the capstan here, we have a screw, okay, which is also the star. I think you are able to see it is a star. Now, since it's a star, we are going to use a star. So my screwdriver is a combo. I'm going to change from flat to star. So I do like that. Then I have to use the screwdriver to remove or to unscrew the screw which is on top here. Okay, I have to remove the screw here. So once I remove the screw on top, then you can see the screw is here. Then I have to remove the capstan. Okay, I have to remove the capstan. Okay, now after removing the capstan, I need now to remove the body. I have to remove the body of the cup. So this is a cleaning cup, okay, which is used to protect also the inside part. Okay, it's quite alright. You have seen the spindle here. Okay, you have seen the spindle. Then here there's a locker. There's a locker pin. Okay, there's a locker pin here. Thereafter, for you to remove this, you need to still use a screwdriver. But before you do that, I want to show you something. We said water is coming from this side and passing through the cover here. So meaning that there is a problem. So this problem is maybe threads are not up to date, threadings are worn out, and you are trying to tie it, still water is coming out. So sometimes maybe it's not about threading being worn out, maybe it's about maybe it's not too tight, it's not tight, it's not watertighted. So now what do? We need now to use a shifting spanner or adjustable spanner. So you have to adjust by looking at the size of the size of the nut, which is supposed to be removed here. Okay, I think you have seen what I'm doing. Okay, then you remove this. Okay, so you have seen something here. So now what you have seen is a jumper. What you have seen is a jumper. So the jumper, it actually used to close and to open the water. So meaning that this is a valve. So here is a rubber. Okay? It's a rubber, and here is a jumper. Here, I'll show you. Now, when you are closing the water, I think you have seen how this jumper is coming out. It's coming out. So the jumper is coming out. So when this jumper is coming out, it means that it is closing. So when you're going and clockwise, so the jumper is falling down. So you can see on how to remove this. So here's the situation. If you find that the rubber is worn out, you just have to remove the rubber or replace the rubber. Okay, yeah, so this is how guys, on how to repair. So if you want to make it back, to put it back is very easy. Then you have to start going and clockwise. Okay, now when you remove, then you want to remove the spindle. You want to remove the spindle. So if you want to remove the spindle, you can check now. You can use the screwdriver. Okay, so this is the pin. I said there's a quarter pin here, or maybe there's a pin which is actually holding the spindle not to come out or not to go down there. So what you do is to use the screwdriver so that you remove. Okay, what I want to do is to remove this part. Unfortunately, my screwdriver is big. It's supposed to be flat a bit, so that you remove this pin. Okay. Okay. Let me. I will show you. I'll continue, so that I'll show you other pin which I have from this. Okay, since you are able to get a concept on how to remove this pin, just need to use a flat screwdriver, very flat, which is able to remove this pin. So once you remove this pin, it means that you'll be able to remove also the spindle. Okay, the spindle will come out. So sometimes you find that you close the water, but this is not actually holding, or maybe it's not water tightening, meaning that the engaged gears, or maybe we say threads, internal threads here, are worn out. The threads that are holding this piston, or maybe the jumper is worn out from the spindle, because inside there are some threads. I think you are following. Inside there are some threads. So if these threads are worn out, even here it will also be worn out, meaning that it will not work. So you need to change the head. So you need to change the head gear. So meaning that this entire gear need to be changed, or maybe replaced. What you can do, just to use the other tap, which is okay. Then you replace the gear. Okay. From that, we need also to know that here inside, remember we removed this head gear where there is a jumper, okay, and the head gear, also the spindle. So this jumper, actually the rubber which is above normally close at this point. Okay, close at this point. So there's a seating here where these rubbers normally sit when you're closing. Okay, when you're closing. So sometimes you find that here on the seating there are some defects. Okay, so if there is any defect on this seating, if there is any defect, maybe there's a crack, or whatever method that you are going to use to close the water will not be closed. The water will not be closed, meaning that this tap is worn out. Okay, this tap is worn out, meaning that it's now become a scrap metal. So this is how we can do the repair, or maybe change of the components. Sometimes I said if the water is coming from the top here, it means that this rubber washer is on out as well. You can still change this rubber washer. Or sometimes if you're in a hurry, you can still use the thread tape. Okay? You can still use the thread tape. This thread tape will be used to seal that link. What you do, you need to get your thread tape and also put here. Okay, you cover this part so that you avoid the leakage. So this is how we normally repair these types of taps. Okay, so I want also to show you another different valve. So this is a BB tap. Okay, I've showed you already. Remember, I started with when replacing. Okay, I started with a head gear, then have to, it's supposed to be now put the cover. After the cover, then you have to put the capstan. After capstan, then we need to use a screw. Okay, a screw. Remember, we are using a screwdriver. Okay, a screw now. We need now to screw in the capstan. Need to screw in the capstan. Okay, after that, I think we are done with this one. So it's now intact. Okay, now the second thing that you need to know is about this kind of valves. Remember last time I said this is a plastic which is called PPR. Now in the modern plumbing, now we have seen things are changing now. In PPR we have also stock of valves which has got an arrow to show the direction flow of water. Okay, so meaning that even this one can be dismantled. If you find some faults, you can still also remove the nut here. Okay, there we used a screw, but here it's a nut. So you can still use the pliers. Okay, you can still use the pliers, or you can still use use a shifting spanner, small one or small spanner that can be used to remove this top nut. Which is holding the capstan as well, okay, or the handle. So on this one there's some writing there, is open and close. Okay, so then you remove this. Once you remove this, you are remaining with the spindle. Okay, you are remaining with the spindle. So now this also can be removed. We still use a shifting spanner to remove that. Okay, it is now out. Now you have to use your hand. As usual, I think you have seen they are similar to the previous one that you normally use. They are similar. Okay. Now also you can see the spindle is very short. Okay. Same applies if you want to close. Let me just show you how it actually close as well. Okay. When you are closing the water, meaning that the jumper is coming out, closing the water, the jumper is coming out, closing the water, the jumper is coming out, until it goes and also sit on the seating. So this jumper also is almost down. So when you start closing the water, it's come like this. Okay, open the water and this one, and clockwise, that is it, closing. So this one is open. So you open the water like that. I think you have seen the jumper is moving upward. So this is how, gentlemen and ladies, this is how we normally do things, and or maybe this is how things actually work. Okay, this is how these valves work. So let me show you something. Maybe you want to remove the jumper. Okay, if I want to remove the jumper, and oh, my jumper is down. Sorry for that. Okay, so this is my jumper, which is actually coming from this headgear. Okay, this headgear. So now, same applies. I think you have seen there's a quarter pin, like the one that I showed you. I think this one maybe I can manage to remove. Let me try to remove using the flat screwdriver. So I have to remove this component. Oh, good. So the pin is out. So this pin is same like the one that we use for the BB tab. Okay, meaning that this spindle is easy to be removed. How can you remove it? Maybe you can just push. Okay, you can just push like this, and the spindle is out. Okay, so I think you have seen there. Okay, this is the spindle plus the threads. Okay, the threads are anti-clockwise. And there inside, see they work together with this, the jumper. So it goes anti-clockwise. It goes anti-clockwise. That's how it works, anti-clockwise. So it's inside holds like this. Okay, inside it actually holds like this. Now it is a situation, maybe you see the water is also coming from the top here. Okay, from the top here, meaning that these rubbers, the steel rubbers, are worn out. The O-ring rubbers are worn out. We find that you don't have other alternative, or maybe you don't have a rubber that can be fixed here. You can still use a thread tape, which I showed you. Okay, the thread tape will be used now also to fill this part so that you make it tight. You find that your work will be done correctly. Okay, so this is how, gentlemen and ladies, this is how we normally repair this type of valves. Okay, the other thing that you need to know is this head. Also, there's a rubber, as we talked about, mentioned earlier on the BB tab. So there's also the rubber here. So this O-ring rubber is used to seal the water seal, to seal the leakage. This rubber to seal the leakage. Okay, then I think you have seen now the body inside. So this is how it operates. Okay, now now let's look at on how to replace this part, meaning that this go like this, then you put the first start with the inner part. The spindle have to go inside, and also start also unscrewing this part so that it start going inside. Okay, remember that there is a pin which you are supposed to put here. So this pin have to be put here. Okay. So it's in. So meaning that the spindle cannot come out. Okay, that's how it actually operates. And by doing so now you go back to your actual valve. Okay, remember I said there's a seating. So if there's any defect, there's a crack there, so the rubber cannot hold water. So there will be a continuous leakage. So this is how you can replace and repair your tap. Okay, it's tight now. So now remember, this capstan have to go back here. Then also the washer, which is also the indicator, you put there. Then the last one is the screw. Okay, the last one is the screw. We use the pliers or maybe a small spanner to make it tight. So it's now done. So same applies to this. I think we are done, the valve and also the pillar cap. So please, to those who are watching, you can subscribe and also like it, share, and make a comment. Or if you have a question, you can still ask a question by typing a question. And after that, we shall continue. So now, the next lesson will be on the mixer tap. Okay, before we finish our lesson, I think let me just do the recap on this one. So this is a stock valve with an arrow. Remember, this valve just got also an arrow to show the direction from water. Also this one, okay, I think we have seen. Then the difference is that this one is plastic, which is PPI, this one is brass. Okay, now the thing that you cannot remove this capstan. It's difficult because it's tight, it's already engraved in that one. So you can still remove this maybe if there's a leakage. Many of the time we find that water is coming from the top here. So you remove this, which we call a packing nut. Okay, packing nut. Then you have to use still a thread tape to put something here. Okay, you put something, a small thread tape here, so that when you do that, you put back your packing nut, and the water will be no more leakage. But inside, since the valve is new, There's a small rubber. I think you're able to see the small rubber there. But how to remove this? Since this one is already unscrewed, it's very simple. So I think I've seen. So they are similar to those jumper that we are talking about. Okay, very much similar. So but this jumper, it is like this. Okay, so if you find that the jumper is not working properly, the problem is the rubber. Okay, the problem is the rubber, which we can replace so that you put the new one. So the jump actually here is not supposed to be tight. It's supposed to be slack or to be loose so that it can be able to go up and down when you're closing or maybe when you're opening that door. Same applies to the seating here inside. If there is a defect or any crack, the water is still passing even if it's closed or maybe it's open. So that's how we actually pair this type of taps. Okay, thank you very much. So any question you can ask. The other tap is this one, this valve. I think you can see the way it is. The other side, it will be removed. You can remove so that you remove the ball which is inside. So like this is closed, it's open. Like this now you close. So this is how we repair the taps. So now the next will be the mix. Maybe let me just finalize on this one. I think I'm able to see this valve. This valve is called a ball valve, a ball float valve, which is used in tanks. Here we put a floater. Okay, a floater is like this. This is a floater, ball float. It's supposed to be plastic or maybe copper. Okay, so it's used to close water. When water is in the tank, this actually go upward. And also inside there's a piston which is actually being pushed by this lever arm and close the valve inside, so meaning that the valve is closed. Okay, so the materials, this is brass, sometimes it may be in plastic or maybe bronze or whatever material that can be used to be supplying water. So for today we end here. We'll continue talking about mixer taps. So mixer taps, we'll see different types of mixer taps. So to those who are following, you can tap, you can subscribe, you can share. Thank you for today and enjoy the learning. Goodbye.